Here we are into the Browns bye week. Coaches love it. Players certainly love it. And fans, well, we get a Sunday off. We get to sit back and enjoy. You root against the teams you don't like, the teams that you hope to lose for the Cleveland Browns. And we'll get to that on Friday's show. There are some important games for Browns fans to keep their eye on this weekend, even without our team playing. But we all hate the early bye. In a way, though, it comes at a perfect point for this team. You face some bad injuries, the Deshaun Watson shoulder situation, and there's still plenty of football left to get things corrected, to get things fixed with the players on the team, to get things fixed with the scheme, the play calling, all of it, and maybe even an opportunity for the Browns to go out there and make a move to help improve the team. There's a debate to be had. Is this team worth it? Is this a team that you go in and you go bring somebody in that's going to help this team? You eat up some of that salary cap space. Is that a move Andrew Berry's going to make? Andrew Berry going to be the topic of our show today, as we'll hear from him a little bit later this morning. Got you locked and loaded right here on Big Play. Welcome to the show, everybody. I am Matt Fontana. He is Ryan Tyler. Good morning. Happy to have along here on the Matt Fontana Show. We're up on Twitter at Matt Fontana Show. Stream us on the iHeart app, if you will. It's there. Don't forget as well, we're YouTube and we're on Facebook and the podcast after the show, Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Got a lot to get to this morning, taking you up to 11 o'clock. We'll talk a little guards as they are diving into the managerial process and searching for a bunch of names like... We do coaching hires in football, Ryan, and there's a bunch of names that you know. Managerial hires in baseball a little bit different. There's some names out there that people probably don't know. We're not going to run through all of them, but I posted a little question on how important that is for the Guardians. We got quarterback power rankings, contenders or pretenders at 2-2. They did that on NFL Network this morning from Adam Shine. He had 9 teams that are all 2-2, and he divided if they were contenders or pretenders. And I'll tell you where the Browns fit in with all of that. And certainly we start with Andrew Berry this morning. We'll speak to him coming up at about 10 o'clock this morning. So we'll get some clips and we'll hear some things from AB as he speaks normally as he does at the bye week. Gonna ask him about Odell Beckham. I'm just kidding. That is one of my most vivid Andrew Berry memories of covering the Browns for as long as I've done and getting to know the team and being around AB. He's a great guy. I love AB. But when he did that press conference about them basically sending Odell Beckham away, it was November. It was an unseasonably warm day. We were outside in Berea under a tent, and he's sitting there just fielding questions about Odell and what happened in the video and all that kind of stuff. But he'll speak today, and I think it's, with AB, there's been so much made on, Kevin Stefanski is the play caller. Deshaun Watson in his shoulder. But Andrew Berry has continued on adding to this team. Some of the moves that he made defensively for this team this offseason have been incredible. Elijah Moore seems to be a hit or miss. And I do want to have this discussion this morning, too. Some of AB's hits and some of his misses. No GM bats 1,000. Ask John Lynch that. Got an extension. Got a pay raise after screwing up the Trey Lance thing. Well done to John Lynch, I guess. There's a lot on AB's resume at this point, right? He's not a second-year guy anymore. There's a lot of moves on his plate. And when you see how this team has been collected and the talent that they've had, it's impressive. But yet there's still a couple of positions that you might be lacking a little bit. Or, you're not going to ever bat 1,000. So we'll talk about that with AB coming up in a little bit. But on the whole, and that'll be our Twitter question this morning, just in general, of the work that Andrew Berry has done, your approval rating of the Browns general manager. And I'll leave it up to you, Ryan, how you want to post it. We could do high, middle, low. I think there's 3 options. Are you really in on Andrew Berry? You think he's done a fantastic job? You're somewhere kind of in the middle. Or you think he's not done a good job. I don't want to say failed, because when you see the talent on this team, I don't think failure is an option for him. But if you don't think he's done a good job, I'd love to hear from people as well in the Twitter inbox, at Matt Fontana Show, at Matt Fontana 83. Because AB can only do so much. He can only get these players to this team, then the scheme takes over. And I will admit I've been downplaying the injury part of this, where the Browns have lost 2 key pieces to their offense, and your starting quarterback didn't play this weekend. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? And I think there's two things that when I say Andrew Berry today, this morning, the two things people are probably going to go to, the backup quarterback thing with trading away Josh Dobbs and you had to start Dorian Thompson-Robinson, okay? And somehow the left tackle continues to come into the story. You picked up Jed Wills, not only the selection of Jed Wills, and I hate playing that revisionist game, like, you know, you could have had Tristan Wirfs. Andrew Thomas was already gone, but it clearly shows that he's the best. That was the best lineman in that draft. But he's also hurt for the Giants now too. But those are the two things on my forefront. Like when I think of Andrew Berry, there's mostly good. Dalvin Tomlinson seems to be a great signing. Trading for Zadarius Smith seems to be a great move. Juan Thornhill seems fine. The draft picks that he's made. Grant Delpit seems like a stud. Seems like quite a fine. MJ Emerson. The fact that you found MJ Emerson in the third round and he has ascended to a starting level corner in the NFL, that's on the good list for Andrew Berry. Making the move at kicker. That's not an easy thing to do. To swallow the pride that you drafted a guy, you gave him a year, and you needed to make a move, and then also were able to go get a viable, even better replacement in Dustin Hopkins. Might be the best move he made, Ryan, to some people. Is like, it'd be easy to hold on to that. And it's like, no, Cade York will come through. And that gets us to even where the Browns are at today. As Andrew Berry sits down for his press availability, but even as he navigates this bye week, he will be faced with the question, do we need to make a move? Is there some move out there to be made? And I think the biggest one would be your left tackle. Knowing that Jed Wills has guaranteed money next year, that you picked up that fifth-year option. And I think the toughest thing, I've tried to defend Jed from time to time. He is in the worst spot for a GM. And here's the reason why. He's not good enough to know for sure he's good, and he's not bad enough to know for sure that he's bad. He's just somewhere in the middle. And there's a lot of people that watch the games and even these 4 games, and they're screaming from the mountaintops, man, he's bad. Get him out of here. He's not good. Go do something. It's not quite all that bad. So that you're stuck in this middle. And then the grand scheme question is that a move that puts you over the hump? The way the Browns were built and the way that they started this season, was there anything, especially after they made the move for kicker, was there really anything that you circled and you go, they got to address that? No. We even came into the season with Jed Wills going, you know, the rest of the offensive line's pretty good, and you know, if he can just kind of play to an above average level, we'll be fine. You made moves at wide receiver. You had Nick Chubb. There was no need to make a running back move. David Njoku was paid, and you revamped your defense. There was almost nothing. Andrew Berry could just lean on back, kick his feet up. I don't want to do it on his desk. I'll fall, but, you know, sit on back and just throw his feet up and go, my moves are done, man. Some practice squad here and there, and then the injuries hit. And then you have to play your backup quarterback. And then Jed Wills hasn't played well. And now it's revisiting, is a move needed for the Browns? And not even just an on-the-field type of move, of an improvement at a position. Sometimes a trade is more of a message to the franchise and to the locker room that we're going for it. A lot of times when you see trades in any sport, what are you signaling? You are signaling the future of your team. I'm not saying they should go out and trade a bunch of picks and eat up a bunch of cap space just to make a move to tell the team, hey, man, we're actually going to go for this and give them the little kick in the rear end. I'm not saying that. But I just wonder if there is a move out there to be made that is actually tangible. We can play this game as the fans and in the media of, well, you know, you could trade for this left tackle here. You can make this move here. My job's not on the line. It's not my job to sit here and make moves that tell the future for the Cleveland Browns. And at the end of this, which is what I probably feel like is going to happen, is that when we open practice next week, when the Browns are back off the bye come Monday, save this clip, I don't expect this roster to look any different. I don't expect them to go make a move. Just making a move for making a move's sake, And also, what are you going to do? Would a running back, because that's the other position people are really clamoring for, running back or left tackle, right? You go trade for Jonathan Taylor. It's going to cost you. It's going to cost you money and picks. You can go trade for him, and that would be something that certainly gets the attention of the franchise and says, we're going for this. Taylor has always just been on this like second level, right? He's always just kind of been there, right? And the news is he's coming off PUP. Like, they're going to have him practice, I believe, today, right? He's practicing. Mm-hmm. That's good and awkward out there, I'm sure. Hey, man, welcome back. Yeah, thanks. Don't want to be here. Appreciate it. Welcome back. How's it going?
He claims that he's very excited to get back with his teammates.
Oh, I'm sure he is. To his team, sure. His teammates, yeah, he doesn't have a problem with Anthony Richardson. He has no problem with Michael Pittman. It's the front office and Jim Irsay that he's got the problem with. And he probably understands I need to just play this year and get the hell out of Indy. And shout out to Ben Axelrod, KYC, formerly KYC, now with Awful Announcing. And Ben sent a tweet yesterday about Jonathan Taylor of if you not only gave up the assets to go trade for him, you then have to pay him. And I've brought this up before. In a crazy world, again, not my money, not my job, you go trade for Jonathan Taylor. I'd give him a 1-year deal and say, here's the franchise. To give him the Saquon Barkley. Here's a little more than the franchise tag, which he doesn't even deserve to have. He's still on the final year of his rookie deal. Give him $12 million, play this season out, maybe boost your stats, and you get rich in free agency. The problem is the Browns' offensive line is not run blocking at all right now. And that's probably a tough sell to Jonathan Taylor. And I don't know the rules when it comes to, can they talk to Jonathan Taylor before? Because you got to have him sign off on this. You cannot make a trade for him and then have him come here and be a malcontent. You just can't have that. And malcontent's a hard word. I understand and respect the situation Jonathan Taylor's in. But that would be a move for Andrew Berry to just like kick the door in and go, here you go. You've got nothing more from me. Then it's the bigger question of the state of the franchise. This is go time for the Cleveland Browns. I said that before the season, certainly as we've played on. You look around on the contract situations of some of these players and just where you have built this team to be successful and competitive now. Why stop? If this is it, if you have circled on your calendar that 2023 is the year for the Browns to compete, why would you then sell yourself short now? Go make the move. Go do it. But then you could potentially be screwing up 2026 and 2027 and all that kind of stuff. And now, I mean, to be honest, I have questions surrounding those years with Deshaun Watson. I would have loved nothing more than Deshaun Watson to come out, play 4 games, and look amazing, and I go, okay, we know we're going to be competitive with a quarterback at least for the next 5 to 7 years. I don't know if I could say that. That then counters back. Why go make a move when you have questions at the quarterback? It's tough. I do not envy Andrew Berry's job right now because I feel like he's a bit of a hair trigger here. There's enough pressure to go make a move, but is it really the right thing to do? And is it actually going to fix anything?
Yeah, Matt, you brought this up earlier, and it just makes everything so much more difficult that the offensive line has been so disappointing.
Not right. And again, you lose Jack Conklin, which I think at the end, when this is all said and done, I think we'll realize how big of a lot. And DeJuan Jones, he's learning. He's playing fine. Then if Posick has to miss a game, he's not obviously a bye, perfect timing for that, but by the way, he's got that knee and then Watson's shoulder. Mm-hmm. I hate that.
Yeah.
I hate that. Like, this is something that week in and week out. I don't, you know what the hell, I'll say it anyway. These aren't the last games that Deshaun Watson and Ethan Posick are going to miss. And not miss, like Posick played, but he wouldn't have played if they had a game this weekend. Injuries like that, they linger.
And Pochich
not like the Cranberry song, which is a great song, by the way.
Pochich has been our best graded lineman, offensive lineman so far.
Him and Bitonio have been right there too. Wyatt Teller, some people have kind of written him off after this. He had a good start. I don't know. That's the toughest thing, Ryan, is if you're Andrew Berry and you really truly felt like replacing Nick Chubb with Jonathan Taylor, which is not an even replacement, but it's as close as you can get. And I also think it's quite the, I guess, glitch in the matrix, so to speak, that there's actually a guy like that available. On any other normal given year, you're screwed, man. You don't have anybody even close to replace Nick Chubb. Jonathan Taylor's pretty damn good. Now, the flip side is the Colts actually kind of think they're in this at 2-2. And they might revamp him and say, man, we're in this. Come help us. If anything, the price has gone up. You would have loved the Colts to have been 1-3, and they're selling off everything. That's not where they're at. And I understand that the Jonathan Taylor trade is the biggest one. It's the biggest name. But it also would probably be the biggest help, right? Like, am I overreacting to one game, or really 2 games, of Jerome Ford and Kareem Hunt? Yeah, maybe. Is Kareem Hunt maybe the option that is best and you just need to get back in the game flow of things? I don't know. And as the coaches watch all of this, they know the answer. Is the line blocking well enough and the running back's just not seeing the hole like Nick did and we need somebody back? I don't know. Or it just comes back to the offensive line isn't what you thought it was going to be. And then you come back and go try to maybe trade for a left tackle.
Yeah, so Matt, out of 134 offensive linemen with at least 200 snaps played this season, the Browns don't have a single player graded inside the top 20. So Pochich was our best. He was ranked 23rd. And then it was Teller 47th, followed immediately by Botonio 48th. Rookie Dwan Jones 102nd.
Don't do it. Don't do it. I don't want to know.
125th.
No, I said don't do it, Ryan. Stop it. Stop it. Out of what? 132, you said?
Out of 134, Jedrick is 125th.
Ugh. And say what you like. That's PFF, right? You're on PFF. That a grain of salt. I understand that. But, ugh. Does it actually fit? I don't know. I mean, the thing is, all the problems with the Browns are not easily fixable. And I'm also, the sky is not falling. We're still 2-2. You're still in this. And if you come out, God, I hope, and somehow beat the 49ers, dude, we're right back in this thing. I don't know how you're going to do that, but I mean, the situation that Andrew Berry is in is very hard. Do you think he regrets picking up that 5th-year option on Jed Wills?
I mean, I don't see how you can at this point. I feel like I'm being mean to Jedrick, but
I know I feel so bad, man, because Jed is a nice guy, and
see, the problem is it's not only is he not getting better, there's just a concern that he might be getting a little bit worse.
Sure.
So last year he gave up 41 pressures on 1,152 snaps. So that was about 0.03 sacks per snap.
Okay.
This year he's averaging double that, a sack every 0.06.
Bill Callahan can only do so much, by the way. You know what I mean? Like that's it. And that when you have some pillars and staples of your team, the Browns franchise got rocked. The thing that we do better than anybody is run the football with the line that we have and with Nick Chubb. You don't have that anymore. That is a culture shock to the system. And that's, again, falls back on Kevin Stefanski and his coaching staff to then maybe find a way to do something else. And that's, again, why I think the bye is at the perfect time to try to figure that out. But then Andrew Berry comes in. You still got to have the players. You still have got to have the horses to get it done. On the whole, I think Andrew Berry has done a fantastic job. Back to our question this morning, which is up at Matt Fontana Show. Your approval rating for Andrew Berry. So let's talk quick about some of the big moves. And I will ask you this, Ryan. Should we limit it to players on the roster? Because you could bring up Odell Beckham, right? And I don't think that says much at this point if you really want to go back and say Dexter Lawrence, the pick you gave up on. I'm going to say we limit this to the players on the roster for the good and the bad that Andrew Berry has done.
I like it.
You want to do a list? My trusty notepad. Here's our electric picks from last week. I got to add those up, by the way. Took it on Typico last night, didn't I? Woo! Did not see that coming in baseball. Big play 150. Use your code on Tipico. Get signed up today. We'll get to our, I don't know if you want our baseball picks, but at least mine. Not good. All right, good and bad for Andrew Berry. Good. Grant Delpit. MJ Emerson. Zadarius Smith.
Yeah.
Z. Dalvin Tomlinson's been fine.
Obo's been solid.
Obo's been very good. Juan Thornhill. I'm not giving credit for Jim Schwartz. I'm not. I think that was an Andrew Berry, or I'm sorry, Kevin Stefanski. So I don't give credit to Jim Schwartz because all these guys are defensive players. You might be saying the biggest thing that they did was sign Jim Schwartz. I don't. That's, whatever.
Did you say Elijah yet?
Can I put him on the good list?
Oh, this is okay.
I was just going good list. If you want, I got the bad list over here too. Can I talk Elijah Moore for a second?
I'm indifferent.
The jury is still out. The Browns' offense is a bag full of cats right now. It is upheaval. Again, the loss of Nick Chubb has just been the shock to the system. I don't think they know what they're doing. I think they're trying to figure this out. And then you throw this giant curveball in that Deshaun Watson missed the game. Dorian Thompson-Robinson, probably on the good. I love DTR, so I'm going to put him on the good. There's one start. What'd you want him to do? The Elijah Moore trade, it's unknown at this point. So I'm going to have to put on the bad. I got to put Jed Wills over there. Okay. Jack Conklin extension.
But it's like you can,
I know.
Yeah. It's like it's not fair to do injuries.
It's not, but it's still on the scoreboard.
And yeah,
right? Like that, it is still on the scoreboard. You had a guy that had battled injuries, got through last season, and you rewarded him with a contract extension. And how could you play that? I get it. I understand that. But it is somewhere on the list. You could say maybe the same thing about Wyatt Teller. Now, Wyatt's playing, and he's playing well. So that seems to be just fine. I would say Posick, contract extension, good. Or at least finding Ethan Posick. Like, you found Posick, so that's a good one. You good trading for Amari Cooper. That guy's still on the team. You traded for him. David Njoku contract extension.
Another one like Elijah, I suppose.
It's the same thing. I almost can't make a declaration because of how bad the offense. I don't know. I really have no idea. So I would say no matter what, even just on the list here of unquestionable goods, there's more good than bad when it comes to Andrew Berry. And I think that's how it's been for years. A few moves that you question, sure, fine. But he's batting, I don't know about what, 80%? Somewhere around there on his hit rate, so to speak, 70, 80%. It's pretty damn good for a general manager. Some positions different than others. I didn't put Watson on this. I did. You and I were looking at the same thing. I'm not putting Deshaun Watson on this. I don't hold that against him, nor give him credit for it. I just have the belief that came from something else, and he got the deal done because he was told to get the deal done. So if it works out, sure, I guess I'll give him credit, but also if it goes up in flames, I don't know if I really put that in Andrew Berry. You want to know the crappy thing, though? That won't matter in his job security. That won't. Because if it goes bad, people will still call for that. And where the Browns sit and the Haslam sit, I think they're very in on Andrew Berry. That's the other part of AB. And I hate doing this question because we all know the answer, but who's more stable in that franchise, Kevin Stefanski or Andrew Berry? It's Andrew Berry right now. But the thing is, both of them, in my opinion, are in very good standing with the organization, specifically the owners. These were the two guys that they picked. And they're good at what they do. There's something to be said about that, where they're going to get a longer leash. They always will. Now, Berry has done enough to warrant even more. Like, there's an extension, in my opinion, in Andrew Berry's future. I don't think he's going anywhere. Kevin Stefanski, as we know, this season was all built up that if you make the playoffs, sure, fine. If you don't, then there are probably going to be questions around and surrounding. I don't know. That's being a coach in the NFL. You get hired to get fired. Probably GMs, too. But where Berry sits, he's got a lot of good. He has got a lot of good. And he can only get the players here. Injuries be damned, and offense and defensive schemes be damned. He can only get them here. So to our question of the approval rating for Andrew Berry, I still think it is very high. I think it is very high. He has pulled off some extremely savvy moves. He's done a lot. So I'm really happy with the job that he has done. What about you? At Matt Fontana Show, your approval rating for Andrew Berry. Oh, here. Okay, this is in the Twitter inbox. We haven't brought this back up yet. The navigating of the Watson contract. He has been very good on spreading that money around and being able to have cap space to roll it over. His number crunching is second to none. So good. That's an easy thing to do. You could find yourself in salary cap hell if you had a lesser GM than Andrew Berry. So it's not even the actual talent acquisition. It's the managing of those contracts that have been pretty good for Andrew Berry. Twitter question is up at Matt Fontana Show. Your approval rating of Andrew Berry. I'm going to say pretty high. You would A, B, C, or D, or F. I'm going to go B on that list then, Ryan. I'm going to go B. He's had some warts. He's had some misses. But I think overall he's done a pretty good job. I'm going to go with B.
Yeah, I said B. I voted B as well. And, well, let me ask you this, Matt. If you had to lean one way towards a plus or a minus, where are you leaning?
Plus. And the thing is, he hasn't... Watson is still unwritten. Because what a lot of GMs would be is the John Lynch situation. You mortgage the future and you bust. You gave up a lot of draft picks and a lot of money. Not money, but in that case, with Trey Lance, a lot of picks. And you busted that.
How many steak dinners do you think John Lynch owes Brock Purdy?
A lot. No, Kyle Shanahan. He owes that all to Kyle Shanahan.
That's very true.
I mean, I'm not trying to take that away from Brock Purdy, but there's probably a lot of quarterbacks that would be salivating to be in that system. Baker Mayfield probably. Wasn't Baker trying to get to San Francisco at one point? I would too. I would do everything in my power to get to San Francisco. We got to L.A. and Sean McVay kind of helped out on that thing, but Baker just seems kind of creeping up from time to time with the Browns. I saw, did you see the story about Sports Illustrated?
About the fake quote?
Yeah, and so Pete Smith, I don't know Pete. I've seen him on Twitter before.
What was the fake quote, Matt?
So here's what happened. The Sports Illustrated has what's called Fan Nation, and it's a little like what ESPN does as well. And they have, of all 32 teams, they have a dedicated group of people that follow each team. And for the Browns, it was the Fan Nation's Browns thing. And this guy, again, I don't know Pete, but...
Oh, this was a Browns reporter.
He worked for Sports Illustrated and focused on the Browns.
Okay.
So they had a Browns dedicated website. I believe they had a couple of podcasts, and it's not that dissimilar to like The Athletic. You know, The Athletic, they have people stationed in Cleveland to cover the Cleveland sports, and Sports Illustrated had that. So there was a fake Twitter account, which I don't understand how this Twitter account is still out there. I blocked him years ago. Not years ago, but I remember seeing this guy. There's this this fake account, Kevin Grant here. And I say it because you need to block him. And all he does is tweet fake things. He has, which again, blame Elon for this, he's got a check mark and he posts things just crazy. Again, this is fake. The Browns are interested in Josh Rosen. That's fake. He just tweets out crazy things that have nothing behind it.
What is his Kevin Grant?
Kevin Grant here is his name.
Oh, okay.
And again, it's just fake. They're all fake. He does it. He sent out a fake tweet about Pat Mahomes saying that the Taylor Swift thing was a distraction. That's not true. None of this is true. The problem is that he sent out a fake quote about Baker Mayfield. Pete picked that up and put it in an article on Sports Illustrated. Cost Pete his job. And I feel terrible for him. Talk about Pete. And again, I don't know him. He took accountability on social media, and he was an editor. Like, that's one of the cardinal sins of an editor, right? And Sports Illustrated needed to protect their reputation and all that kind of stuff. So I feel bad, and I appreciate Pete stepping up the way that he didn't take accountability. But whoever runs that account needs to be held accountable. Like that, how is that still a thing?
I'm reading his Josh Rosen tweet.
It's crazy. And the thing is, again, this is just nobody. All they do is sit at their house and make this up. And the person that sent that, the person that actually runs that account, I hope you I hope you know what you did. I hope you feel ashamed for what you did. You cost somebody their job for you to get a couple of clicks and a laugh.
And so what's interesting about, obviously I'm not totally familiar, but I'm looking at his Twitter feed now, and what's really interesting about that, you always have those troll accounts, but a lot of them, they tweet things that are super absurd.
Yeah.
But now he's tweeting things that could easily get construed as real.
Trying to with people. He is purposely trying to with people. And it's a lesson for, I guess, all of us to learn to be better about it. But it made me sick. I feel so bad. It's obviously somebody that lost the job. I know what that's all about. It sucks. It absolutely sucks. But sorry, I saw that. It happened a couple of days ago. But, that's the important thing is, I guess, it literally... From my understanding, this is just completely made up. This guy took some stock photo. He makes it sound to be that he's some chief commercial officer. It's all fake. It's all phony. And if I was Pete, I mean, I guess you can't really do this, but I'd sue. This guy's purposely misleading, and your point earlier, Ryan, is right. There are some troll accounts that are troll accounts, and they say that. They know that they say that, and they're fake. This guy acts like he's trying to be something that he's not. I blocked him a long time ago. And I feel bad because I wish I could have told Pete ahead of time, dude, that's fake, that's phony. And yes, your journalistic thing is to go find a second source or find something else like that, but it sucked. Why did I bring Baker? We were talking about getting to San Francisco because that's really what Baker wanted to do. Yeah, I give credit to Brock Purdy to a little bit. I really give a lot of credit to Kevin Stefanski. I give credit to Kevin Stefanski too. Kyle Shanahan. 2 KSs there. Different ones, though. All right, we come back. Let's catch a break. I want to update our Twitter question. Your approval rating of Andrew Berry. I think it's got to be high. I think it's got to be a little bit better than not. We'll hear from AB coming up at 10. We're not going to we can't run that interview. It'll be live, but we're going to get quotes and we're going to get a lot of things. So I want to make sure to update that. We'll dive into a little bit of baseball as the Guardians begin their managerial search. I'm not done with the Browns yet either. I've got quarterback power rankings and contenders, pretenders. All of the 2-2 teams. Where'd the Browns come out from Adam Shine? It's an interesting one, and I'll tell you that when we return. Vote on our Twitter question. We're up at Matt Fontana Show, streaming live on the iHeart app. Download the iHeart app, search Big Play under live radio, and you can listen to us every morning from 9 to 11. Chico on 12 to 2, and then all the Big Play shows are streamed throughout the day. So Josh and Maria were last night on the return. You get the Bobby Carpenter, Anthony Schlegel show, Reflog, Hanford and Greg Williams, Drennan coming in right after us to record his show, bonus time. That'll be on our social media channels tonight, but then also, of course, streaming throughout the day on the iHeart app. So download it. We're there. Search Big Play. And we got you covered each and every day. We'll get to our picks with Tipico, too. Took in the shorts on baseball yesterday. Bad. But we'll rebound. That's the good news. They all play today, right? Do they? Schedule? Anyone? Today? What's today? Wednesday? Yeah. Oh, yeah. They're all up today. Why? We'll get to it in the morning update. Why do they keep doing that to Tampa? They got the 3 o'clock game again today. All 4 games going on, so we'll try to rebound a little today. With Tipico, use that code BIGPLAY150. Got a lot more Browns, got a lot of Guardians, locked and loaded. Stay with us right here. It's Fontana Show on Big Play. a few teams around the NFL are 2-2, including the entire AFC South, which is a little weird. But the Browns are in an interesting spot. Do you feel like they're a pretender or a contender? That's our question this morning. Really, Adam Shine answered that question for us this morning on NFL.com. Welcome back. Matt Fontana Show right here on Big Play, streaming live on the iHeart app. We're up on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. So I love Adam Shine. He always does the Shine 9, and he always puts 9 teams or players, and he'll rank some sort of 9. Today, of all of the 2-2 teams, are they contenders or pretenders? And that's what he went through today. Contenders. He feels like the Houston Texans are contenders. He feels like the Pittsburgh Steelers are contenders. The LA Rams, I kind of agree with that. The Chargers, I certainly agree with that. Jacksonville, I agree with that. The pretenders, are the Packers 2-2? They are.
Mm-hmm.
Tennessee, I agree. The Colts are fake and phony, and so are the Commanders. He didn't put the Browns on the list. He did not put the Cleveland Browns on either list. So I guess that's good because he doesn't feel like we're pretenders, but it also doesn't feel like the Browns are contenders. Ryan, do you think we're still in this? Like, we did the question yesterday. Do you still feel like the Browns are going to make the playoffs? And that came out to about a 50-50 split.
I don't know how, unless you're just totally bought out on Deshaun Watson. I guess I can't really blame you, but it is too premature. So unless it's just blind pessimism, couldn't find the word because I'm just that optimistic, can't go against them.
Here's my, let me make the case on if you were completely out on the Cleveland Browns. Let me just make the case that you are out on the Browns. You are missing Nick Chubb, your best offensive player. Your offensive line is not playing well. And even when healthy, Deshaun Watson had only played one good game out of 3. Again, the weather in Cincinnati and Pittsburgh, whatever. You want to try to go back to the 6 games last year, which I don't want to do, and I frankly don't. Okay, fine. If you are really trying to make the case that the Browns are out of this, it would start with Deshaun Watson, where he had not played well, and then now he's got a shoulder injury. And now this is an injury that I don't think we've heard the last of it. You know, you and I discussed a question this morning about, are you worried about Deshaun Watson's shoulder moving forward? And I thought you brought up a good point, Ryan. We didn't post that because I think everybody would say yes. This isn't some magic, you get a week off, the shoulder is fine. I'm sure he's getting treatment, and I'm sure they're doing everything they can to limit it. But once you sustain an injury like that, Deshaun Watson will be dealing with this for the rest of the season. The rest of the season, they're going to be dealing with that with his shoulder. It could be worse. You could be dealing with the Joe Burrow situation. They're in a lot of trouble, man. A lot of trouble down there in Cincinnati. We'll get to that coming up, too. Oh, you want to do it right now? Why not? It's our show. We can do as we please. NFL latest buzz around the league. I love this. This is one of my favorite things every week from Dan Graziano and Jeremy Fowler. They just go through questions, throughout the week. And the first one was the best defense in football. And Dan Graziano said it's the Browns. Fowler said he went with the Bills or the 49ers, but the Browns are honorable mention there. Their next question up. What are you hearing on Joe Burrow and the Bengals' slow start? This is from Fowler. Burrow's mobility is definitely limited with the right calf. On Sunday, the Titans could tell how aware and cautious he was being about not even trying to extend the play, and they used that to their advantage. That's something that could happen to Watson and the Browns. If that shoulder is limiting his deep passes, defenses will know that pretty early and try to probably take advantage of that. Back to Burrow, though. Fowler saying that there was a feeling coming out of last week that the calf strain was improving, even just slightly, and the team had a strong week of practice. So it was feeling better. They had a strong week of practice, and they got beat 27-3 against the Titans. It's going bad down there on the river, just like their Skyline chili.
Down there in Kentucky.
Going bad. Just going bad. The thought is the Bengals can try to get him right over the next 2 weeks, and with him getting better in the meantime, he can get a full week of rest with their bye in week 7. Graziano writes, the Bengals' belief is that Burrow's calf will continually improve as long as he doesn't pull it again. There's a guarantee. You sure it's not going to happen again? Are you sure about that? You sure it's not going to get pulled again? Are you sure Deshaun Watson's not going to take a hit on his right shoulder again? No. You can't be sure of that because I know I'm not sure of it either. It's football. Football happens. And never mind. Yeah. It's a little unsavory. You know the defenses know what's hurt. Do you know why in hockey they only list things as upper body or lower body? Because they don't want guys getting targeted.
What's that one dude? Gosh, come on. I should know this. Karate Kid, Cobra Kai, John Kreese, when he tells him to Johnny's leg.
Yeah, yeah. The other reference I was going to make was in Marvel and Captain America Civil War, where Spider-Man goes, he told me to go for your legs, and he pulls out Captain America's legs. Like, let's call it for what it is. They know. You know they know. Can't be blatant, but they know. And then you also have to call things differently. Zach Taylor's calling things different for Joe Burrow because he can't move. And Deshaun Watson might have to have things called differently for him because of his shoulder. I would love nothing more than a poof. His shoulder is fine. He got a week's worth of ice and treatment and stim and the electric. You ever had that done, Ryan?
Mm-mm.
Oh, it's crazy. They put the little, are you afraid of needles?
I wouldn't say afraid, but I'm definitely not friendly.
I don't think anybody really enjoys needles, but yeah, you're either like, I've had people do it. I
can handle them though.
I had a kid when I was in school. I can't remember when this was. They had to like physically restrain him to like get a shot. That's how bad it was. Shots don't bother me, getting blood drawn, whatever. But they put the little like needles in, and they'd run the electrical through it. It's crazy. You ever had dry needling done?
Mm-mm.
They just poke your muscle. I'm 34. I'm over the hill. I'm dead. I might as well just throw me in the crypt now. And I've had like shoulder problems. I had an impingement. I had a rib displaced. Not fun. And this dry needling, they just like take it and they just kind of poke your skin, and you feel your muscle go like this. It just like goes like this, and it feels great when you're done. So I'm sure Deshaun Watson is getting all of that done to help his shoulder get better. I completely, they're doing everything that they can to help that shoulder get better. You could be improving, have it feel in a good place, one hit, oh wait, we're back to square one again. And you're turning things back over. In a way, I would feel like a leg injury would be more acceptable at this point. Because at least Joe Burrow, I know you use your legs to throw, I get it, and you got to be able to move the pocket. But like, if it's in Deshaun Watson's right shoulder and he can't throw, that is what I was told. That's what you were told. That's what everybody was told on Sunday. He couldn't throw. He could not throw the football. That's a problem. That's a pretty big problem for a quarterback. So you could be worse. You could be the Joe Burrow situation. All right, other NFL buzz around the league. I mentioned this is Fowler and Graziano. Best defense. Graziano said it is the Browns. They've allowed just 28 points to Baltimore, but outside of that, they've been stellar. They're the only team holding teams to under 200 yards per game. They're first in defensive efficiency and third in defensive expected points added, only behind Dallas and Baltimore, which are in there as well. And their opponent QBR, they're limiting quarterbacks to just a 30.4. That's a bad game for Burrow, a bad game for Pickett, and a horrible game from Ryan Tannehill and throwing Lamar, which is the lowest in the league. And their third down percentage is still pretty good. It was below 22% or below 20% when they faced Baltimore. It's only 22% now. So I think it's in there. I think the Bills and the 49ers are certainly there too. The thing that if you want to make the case about Buffalo, that they faced maybe the best offense or maybe the top three best offense in Miami and kind of limited what they've done, got to take the Browns defense with a little grain of salt. All right, we discussed Joe Burrow. Next up on the Week 5 buzz from Dan Graziano and Jeremy Fowler. What has been the most disappointing offseason transaction thus far? They obviously bring up Aaron Rodgers. But again, that's injury related. It was, I don't know, was it 9 plays he got hurt or something like that? 4 plays or whatever it was?
It was 4.
Can't tell. Oh, 9 because Jamal Adams, man. We didn't talk about that on Monday. I feel so bad for Jamal Adams. Guy missed 380 odd some days of football, comes back, gets 9 plays, kicked in the head, concussion. I feel bad for him. Anyway, but Graziano says the other one, Jimmy Garoppolo. I didn't understand, especially, did they not give him a 3-year, 70 odd some $1 million deal? What was that? It'd have been better just playing Aiden O'Connell. I get it. Jeremy Fowler says Sean Payton because the money that you gave Sean Payton, I don't want to misspeak here. Is he not like $17 million? $18 million a year. And you're 1-3. $18 million. You paid that to be in the same spot or worse than Arthur Smith and Robert Saleh and, I don't know, name me another bad coach. Because at 1-3, the only ones that are worse than you are Reich, who, in Carolina's fine. Eberflus, who's going to lose that job. You're in the same spot as Jonathan Gannon in Arizona. Shane Steichen has a better start than you do. Could have just hired him. Paid him $18 million. So I kind of agree with Fowler saying that one is there for worst offseason moves around the league. Which coordinator has the hottest seat through 4 weeks? It's not the Browns because it's not Jim Schwartz and it's not Kevin Stefanski. Vance Joseph, Denver, you give up 70-odd some points. I don't know how he really kept that job. I kind of agree with that one there. Who is your top upset for week 5? Remember these for the picks coming up on Friday. Graziano says Cardinals +3 over the Bengals. Oh, my God. How great would that be? That's a dicey one there. Is that game in Arizona? By God, it is. Woo! That's one of our games to watch. Fowler, Cowboys over the 49ers. I'll listen to that one because it has a lot to do with Miami. I say this because I got the pick right. I knew Buffalo was going to win that game. It's not so much about Buffalo. It's that you just cannot keep to that level. Like, you just can't do it. And it doesn't make me feel any different about Miami. But the 49ers are going to lose a game. You know that they're going to lose a game at some point. When? I don't know. Maybe it could be this weekend. Let's flip over and talk a little bit of baseball here before again. Andrew Barry's coming up at 10 o'clock. We'll hear some quotes. We're not going to be able to play it here, obviously, but we'll get quotes. I want to get some more thoughts on where we sit with Andrew Barry. Before we do that, let's update our Twitter question, though. At Matt Fontana Show, we're asking everybody, where's your grade for Andrew Barry? 45% say C, 43% say B, 7% A, 4% D or an F. So you're talking about almost 90% of people think he's somewhere in the B-C range. Phil in Atlanta does. He does well spending the owner's money on free agency. He's not good in the draft. Our best drafted players were drafted by the previous general manager. I understand that, Phil. I'll give you Grant Delpit and MJ Emerson is probably 2 of the best picks that he had made. Jerome Ford, still to be told. Jed Wills, not seeming like a great pick. But time to be told on that. Can you get to the championship with a B-level general manager? I don't know if you can. And it's right now. Like, I think he's closer to an A than he is an F, but the best teams have the best players. There's no bones about that. The best teams have the best players. Do they have good coaching? Sure. Do they have the right scheme? Sure. What makes Philly so good is they have all pro players across that field. What makes Kansas City so good, they turn players into all pro players, and they have the best player in football, in my opinion, Patrick Mahomes. Not Travis Kelce, Patrick Mahomes. The best teams have the best players. So you have to have a GM that's up to par to get that done. Speaking of leadership, Guardians looking for a new manager. And that list will be long and distinguished. This came out yesterday that Mike Chernoff and Chris Antonetti, team president and general manager, are on the search for the next manager and had a list of 40-odd some people that they have now kind of whittled down. I saw a report that they were out for somebody, some bullpen coach somewhere. I'm not getting into the names because it's just, frankly, I don't have enough information on some of these managerial candidates. Sorry. My question is, how important of a hire is this for the Guardians? How important is this hire? We see baseball managers, just like any other sport, they get fired, they come and they go. Baseball is an interesting sport that you're not calling plays like in basketball or football. You're making pitching moves. The lineups, I'll tell you this, most of the lineups are all analytic driven at this point anyway, right? They tell you this guy should be batting here. This guy's got this advanced metric here. Like the lineups, and give Terry credit, he accepted that. He would still make the lineups, but he would at least have the input, because there are a lot of old school managers like, get that crap away from me. They pull the John Dorsey. I don't need a bunch of nerds telling me how to coach or how to make decisions for the sport that I do. But is it really that important? And maybe I'm way off base on that. Maybe I'm completely wrong on the read of the importance of the hire of the manager for the team. Baseball, again, who is the talented players on this team, right? Do you have enough? Do you have the pitching that is needed? There is some mechanical things, and there are some like, okay, a pitcher's in a slump or a hitter's in a slump. The hitting coach, the pitching coach can kind of take them aside. I get all of it. But baseball to me is more about the culture. And the manager is something that you have to set the culture. And that is important. But I guess I'm dancing around. Because it's easy to sit there and say, look what we did with Terry Francona. Like, look what we did with Terry Francona. Do you want to go back to the Manny Acta years? No. Do you want to go back to the Charlie Manuel era? No. So I guess it is to that point. I'm sorry. I'm not feeling it. I'm not. Like, maybe it's just I'm hungover from the Terry era. I'm hungover from the Terry decision. Do I expect the Guardians to compete? I don't know. Maybe that's my biggest issue with this baseball team right now. Maybe I think they're going to suck for a couple of years. Maybe this is the downturn that we've tried to... The Guardians made a living off of avoiding the rebuild. And they would always make these moves here and there, trade away big players, and try to hold off on the rebuild. Maybe this is the time for the full-on rebuild. And they'll bring a manager in that'll last a couple of years, and then they'll fire them, and you hope to rebuild it up, right? Baltimore, perpetually rebuilding. They're in the playoffs. What did they do? They drafted properly, and they put the right pieces in place. Maybe that's what I'm staring down the barrel for the Guardians. I'll say this right now today, Ryan, a couple days removed as we're 2 days into the wild card series. I don't expect much from the Guardians next year. Like, I expect their win total to be somewhere in the 70s for next season. Yeah, there's offseason. The blitzer money has always been a big question. It's not that I'm down on the franchise. I just don't expect much from them next year. So for that being said, I don't know how excited I can get or the importance of level that I have for the managerial hire. I guess I could be off base with it. I don't know. But, like, it's going to come back to the players. That's just kind of how I see it. All right, when we come back, we will have the morning update. We do have to update those wild card games yesterday. Aaron Rodgers making a push to play this year. Why? We'll get to all of it and the other stories that you got to know. You got to know about Tipico, though. Rough day yesterday. We'll rebound it a little today with some of our bets for the Major League Baseball playoffs. But you can get signed up for Tipico, not only for football season, basketball will be here before you know it. And this was me yesterday, Ryan, like sitting down. Do I really care about the Rays and the Rangers? No. But when I threw a little $5 parlay down on Tipico, I all of a sudden care a little bit more, and it's something that I can watch for the afternoon. That's really my fun of it, folks, is that I can place a couple pizza money, a couple bucks here and there, and you have interest in a game that's on TV. Normally I wouldn't, but I had my parlay riding. Spoiler alert, that parlay didn't hit. We're right back at it today. Tipico, download the Sportsbook app. You can use that code BIGPLAY150. You deposit $50. You get $150 in bonus credits plus a $30 dog pound futures bet that you can place right there on Tipico. We'll get geared up for basketball before you know it. Get signed up today and bet with us here on Big Play all season long with Tipico using that code BIGPLAY150. Gambling problem, call 1-800. Terms and conditions apply. Check those out on Tipico's website. Morning update comes your way next. Got a lot to get to. We'll get to it next.
Hey, Matt.
Hey, wait. Gotta get my headphones in. All right, we're good to go. Sorry, big trade in the NFL. J.C. Jackson from the Chargers to the Patriots. Back to where he started. See, look, NFL can get some trades. We'll see how it goes. We do have Andrew Berry coming up. We'll see some of the quotes starting to come out just a little bit as well. But Ryan, let's get to it. The morning update, all the stories you got to know. Take it away.
All righty, Matt. I'm going to give you a number, and I want to see if you can tell me the significance.
5.
A little bit bigger, but honestly not much. 19,704.
Oh, I saw this, yeah.
That is the announced crowd at the Tropicana Field on Tuesday, the lowest for a postseason game since the 1919 World Series.
The Rays, I felt so bad watching that game because there was a camera shot, and it was a left-handed batter, and they shot kind of down the right field line. Ryan, there was sections missing of people there at Tropicana, and they had this long pregame was all messed up too. They had the players standing out there for about 10 minutes before they got to the anthem, and they had the countdown clock in the corner, and I looked. It was like 18 minutes to first pitch, and there's nobody in the stands. Where is everybody? They got screwed twofold. Number one, Tampa has never been a good baseball town, I'm sorry to say. And number two, they put them at 3 o'clock in the Eastern time zone. Now, baseball kind of got screwed where they had two Eastern time zone, 2 Central time zone games. They didn't have anything out West Coast. Dodgers were on the bye, and the Diamondbacks were on the road. So, but I guess it's to be expected. Say what you want about our town. We sell that stadium out. We sell that ballpark out when it's at least the playoffs. I feel bad for the Rays. I feel worse that they lost because I picked them to win. But yeah, that's not a good look. That's sad. It really is sad to see. And the fact that, again, 100 years, it was the lowest playoff game attendance in 100 years. Think about it this way, folks. 19,000. That's what the Guardians, who have attendance problems of their own, they get that on a Saturday night. Not a wild card playoff game. Sad. I feel bad. It sucks.
All righty. Well, Aaron Rodgers says there's nothing normal about how he's attacking his rehab. He said this on the Pat McAfee show, which he appears on every week. He said the common practice is about 6 weeks in a boot, but Aaron says he was in a shoe in 13 days.
Wow. I mean, I put it this way. Come back to do what? Come back late in the season for the 3-8, 3-10 Jets to do what? Get some practice? At that point, sit down. Like, he's saying that to try to keep the team rallied. He's trying to do that to keep the Jets, like, motivated. There's no point. He's not playing this the rest of the season. And frankly, if he does, that's a misstep on the Jets' part. They need to shut him down, and he needs to there's no way he's playing the rest of the season. Absolutely not.
Alrighty, well, how about we hop into the basketball world a little bit? Got some beef going on between the Lakers and Nuggets. So Denver's coach Michael Malone was introduced as the Lakers' daddy during the team's parade celebration after winning their first title. Well, he said, speaking of the Lakers, I just want you guys to know this is breaking news. I'm thinking about retiring, so don't tell anybody. And Malone said that as a joke, referencing when he made fun of LeBron for saying he was considering retiring.
I love it. I love a little smack. I like a little preseason smack. The thing is, can the Lakers actually deliver? The Nuggets are probably the best team in the West. Can they actually unseat them? I don't know, but I love it. There's a fine line, and I will admit I love it because it's not my two teams. There's a level that we all know with Freddie Kitchens, and he started it. When it's not my two teams, I love it. I love the smack talk. Bring it on.
How you feel about that nickname, Lakers Daddy?
That gets overplayed a little bit, I think. Of just like, oh, you own them or things like that. I mean, it is what it is.
All right.
It's a little creepy. You know what I mean? Like, isn't it a little weird?
LeBron was Toronto's daddy.
I guess.
LeBronto,
I guess. I mean, you kind of the thing is, sometimes it's the stuff you don't say, where you just know that you own them, like just you got them. Like, it just is what it is.
Matt, is it a little weird though? I kind of thought about this when I told you about the Aaron Rodgers thing. Is it kind of weird? He's kind of hyping up how well he's progressing. I get it, but
he keeps saying it because he wants the Jets to keep believing. Like the Jets have every reason to pack it in and give up right now. So he's trying to give them some little apple in front of the cart, in front of the horse, to keep them going. Like, dude, just keep this together. What did we do all last season? just keep it together till Watson gets back. Just keep it together till Watson gets back. That's what he's trying to do. It's going to not work. No, they're going to suck.
Alrighty. Well, Lexi Thompson is set to become the 7th woman ever to tee it up against the men on the PGA Tour. Thompson, 28, accepted a sponsor invitation to play in the Shriners Children's Open, which begins on October 12th in Las Vegas.
I think it's pretty cool. Obviously, Michelle, didn't Annika Sorenstam do it once too, I think? I mean, it's just the only difference is that she has to tee it up. Once they get to the fairway, it's a game, right? It's just golf, and she's good at that. The distance is the biggest question, though, and she's going to have to tee it up back on the tips. Trust me, I'd get smoked back there, too, but she's 10 times the golfer that I ever hope to be. I think it's cool. I really wish, as a golf fan, they did more crossover events, and they do one. But I would love it if they had more where there's an event. Maybe it's this time of the year or early in the season, some tropical place. It's the PGA Tour, it's the LPGA Tour, and you match them up, and they play. And it's not against one another, but, yeah, it's Lexi Thompson, and she's playing with Scotty Scheffler. Or Rose Yang is playing with, I almost said Dustin Johnson. Sure, he's not on the PGA Tour anymore. But you know what I mean? Like, pair them up. Have Nelly Korda. She's on Justin Thomas's team, and then they play a team event. I'd love that. I think it'd be really cool. I think it's awesome to see how not only the LPGA, but also the WNBA, thanks to ESPN, their ratings are through the roof. Dude, I love watching the LPGA. I just love watching golf. So if golf is on, I'm going to watch it, and certainly the LPGA is right there, too.
Alrighty, Matt, last bit of news here in the morning update. A nationwide emergency alert test is going to be coming to our phones today at 2:20 Eastern Time. How do you feel about that?
I mean, it's good in a way because, like, everybody's got alerts for tornadoes or Amber Alerts. It comes right to your phone, but it just tells you, like, how far the world has come. And just where we're at today. And then there are some people out there that I know, and one of them might be coming to record their show right after ours, that don't even have a smartphone anymore. Bruce Drennan doesn't have a smartphone. At least he didn't. I maybe he got one, but he's like told people like don't ever text him.
No, he likes the landlines.
I get it. And there's probably something to be said about kind of being taken away from that, or like you're off the grid in a little bit. So enjoy. Like, and this test is for what? It's supposed to be just national alert, like if something, really bad happened, or
if we're about to get a nuke dropped on our heads, probably.
Get to know that. Yeah, well, probably need to have a smartphone for it. Great stuff here on the morning update. Let's dive into some of the things that Andrew Barry is. So he's speaking right now. Some of the clips that are coming out. The biggest one, this is from Barry on the offense. Really looking forward to using the bye to return to consistency, the standard that Kevin has set since he's been here. Without Nick Chubb and Jack Conklin, it'll look different, but confident it can exceed the standard of the previous 3 years. Can I read into that for a second? They expect Deshaun Watson to play better because he hadn't been here for the past 3 years. So they're assuming that Watson will get back on track and the offense will get back on track. He already mentioned some of the turnovers and saying that they've lost, 10 turnovers or had 10 and they haven't gotten any of them back. We'll see. Barry says that the culture is in a good place. Guys who play hard and want to win for the city. Mentions David Njoku, the burns to the face, Anthony Walker returning from injury, Amari Cooper, and Elijah Moore. Oh, Deshaun Watson. Guys who play hard and want to win for the city. There's a giant elephant in that room about Deshaun Watson and whether or not what happened last week? Right? What happened last week? Did he tell everybody he was going to play and then didn't? That's what I've been told, that's what happened. There's reports out this morning that the rest of the locker room thought that and were pretty upset. The culture is something that can flip quickly. But it's also something, there's always underlying things. If you have a good culture, there's always bumps in the road. There's always things, but it is the fact that the culture is what gets you through it. I don't want to read anything more into this Watson thing than it is, but this is something that I could see being a culture flipper. if they don't handle it the right way. If they don't get back on the same page, if they don't really, frankly, nip this in the bud. And just so far, just following on to it, I don't think there's been a question asked to Andrew Berry about Deshaun Watson. So with all that being said, like, are you handling that? And maybe, is there a situation that needs to be handled? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that question, right? It could be as simple as he tried to play all week and then couldn't. Was the mistake, and maybe this is something that Deshaun Watson has learned. And boy, I can't wait for his press availability next week. Because question needs to ask, Deshaun, did you maybe make a mistake by telling people all week that you were going to play? Was that obviously a mistake where you should have been more guarded? And I'm not saying more truthful, because if he believed that all week he was going to be good to go and then woke up Sunday and it just didn't go, fine. But should you have maybe handled that differently? Should the team have maybe handled that differently? Those are all questions that I have, knowing how it played out and what happened on Sunday morning. So there's something there. I can't deny this, that there is something just kind of festering and underneath the Browns right now, and it surrounds Deshaun Watson. And it's not even, again, it was the off the field thing for a long time. Now it's on the field, on him not playing. And what happened? What in the hell happened with him not playing? And I hope Andrew Berry has asked that question today. I hope that he has asked that question when it comes to what happened with Watson or where he's at on a confidence level. Because Kevin Stefanski said on Monday, that structurally there's nothing wrong with the shoulder and that medically they're on the same page. But he didn't say he feels confident they're going to move past it. And with any injury, how can you do that? It's tough to do that. But I'd love Andrew Berry to get that question. Barry, the key to performing at the highest capabilities, overcoming in-game adversity. We're still working hard to build that callus. That's a culture comment again. Okay. Here it is. Shout out to Chris Easterling, Akron Beacon Journal. Barry, we don't view Watson's shoulder as a long-term injury. Confident it will heal in the short term. Okay, that's good. That's good. And if it comes out that he was able to use this bye week and get it completely healthy, then we're moving forward. Cynic in me must not have been that hurt then. That's wrong. Do you see my frustration in all this, man? Like, it sucks. It's kind of like the worst injury where it's good enough to maybe, or it's bad enough that it hurts and impacts what you're doing and maybe good enough that you can play, but knowing that there's still a chance you don't. But again, Andrew Berry, we don't view Watson's shoulder as a long-term injury. We're confident it will heal in the short term. Okay. All right. So that all your eggs are in that basket of Watson's shoulder healing, but then also returning to form. Because, Ryan, that's the other part of this. His shoulder can heal if he's still going out there and not making the right reads or playing poorly. Then I don't really care if his shoulder is hurt or not. He's not playing well. Whether it's schematically and how he's playing or the shoulder, I don't care. He's not playing well. Barry is optimistic that Deshaun Watson's shoulder injury won't be a factor going forward and will heal in the short term. Here it goes. Barry, we were optimistic that Watson would play on Sunday. He was optimistic he would play on Sunday. It then became evident when he got out there that he wouldn't be able to perform. How do you avoid that? How do you avoid something like that? I don't know. I really do not know the answer to that question. And maybe it's just that's how it goes. Something stinks. Something just isn't right about this, and I don't know what it is. And I might be making too much out of it, but something's, oh my God. There's something there. It's not a long-term injury, and they were optimistic he was going to play, as he was also optimistic that he was going to play. It became very evident early in his pregame workout that Watson wasn't going to be able to play. So at least there's that, where he said it was apparent, like it was evident that Watson was not going to be able to play. My anger then goes, why didn't you figure that out on Friday? Like, were you really trying to give, like, at least on Friday, if you had him throw, you could be understanding we are leaning that he's not going to play or that he won't be able to get it done. You waited till Sunday, and then it just didn't happen. Dude, this is all kind of coming out in a weird place where they sounded like he was going to play. Everybody thought that that Deshaun Watson was going to play Sunday, and then he didn't. Is there blame to be placed for that? It became obvious that his bruised right shoulder was not going to allow Watson to play. So I guess it must have been really bad. Am I wrong for not wanting the video of his pregame workout? I want to see how bad it really was. Like, I think they're doing a great job of trying to, like, mitigate this a little bit and probably not trying to make it into something bigger than it is. But it's still, I still am going to have questions about it. They all decided that he couldn't play. They all decided. So Watson, the team, the doctors, they all said it was the best. Barry on trading Josh Dobbs. It was the right move for the team, short and long term. He has no regrets for it then. And I guess his comeback would be, you don't assume you're going to be missing your quarterback. You don't trade guys or acquire guys or whatever based on injuries. But it was the right move in the short and long term. So Andrew Barry's saying that he has no regrets when it comes to what trading away Josh Dobbs. In a vacuum, it's hard because we watched that game and saw how DTR played. So you're angry. I kind of was. I'll agree with AB on that one, though. I don't know if Josh Dobbs wins you that game, and you might not need your backup quarterback to take a snap the rest of the game. So they felt like it was the right move. You gotta put down a little bit of confidence in that too. Barry can't come out and go, that was really a bad idea. You're not doing that. So I'll ride with him on that one. I will sit there and kind of understand what he means with that. I can't get past this whole Watson not playing, and if he was going to play, and if he said he was going to play, and now the team said, is there something there, Ryan? Am I making something out of nothing here, or are you with me? Like, there's something. It's just gnawing at me about Watson
picking up what you're putting down, Matt.
Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, am I wrong on that?
No, not at all. Something's a little bit fishy. We got to figure it out.
And maybe it's not for us. Maybe it's not for the fans, or it's more of inside the organization. They have to get that figured out. The thing is the confidence that it kind of won't happen again, but that the process played out properly. You know what I mean? The biggest issue that you could have was that the process failed you. And I guess you could say it did because you thought he was going to play and you just thought the whole time that he was going to go. Maybe they put too much sauce on it. Maybe they put too much on it thinking that he was going to go and they weren't prepared for that. But like, I really want to hear from Watson next week. And I don't know if I'm going to feel any better until then. And then once I hear from him, I don't know if I'll feel any better or worse. You know what I mean? Like, what happened in pregame? The question needs to be asked, what gave you confidence all week that you were going to play? Because that's the other thing. He must have been feeling okay, or there must have been elements that each and every day he got better and thought he'd be able to go. And then what specifically was limited when it came to that shoulder? What was it that stopped you from playing? Could you really not legitimately complete passes? Is that so you couldn't throw anything, or you could only throw short? We're going to have to hear from Watson. But really the biggest thing coming out of all of it this morning is the Browns, the team, everybody felt like Deshaun Watson wasn't going to play, and then he didn't. Maybe there's nothing there. Maybe there's something. I don't know. Andrew Barry said he can't and won't comment on trading for Jonathan Taylor. Always looking to improve the roster, but, quote, we're pleased with the running back room. Cross him off. Jonathan Taylor was always a long shot. It was more fodder for us to have fun with it. It was a fantasy football Madden trade. They like the position that they have created for themselves in the salary cap. But that also tells you they don't feel like a running back will fix the problems with the run game because it's most likely offensive line driven. The offensive line is not run blocking well right now. That's a statement of fact at this moment. So you could bring in Emmitt Smith. You could bring Nick Chubb back off of the knee injury. And if your offensive line is not blocking the way that you need them to, you're not going to be able to run the football. So they don't feel like going out and investing all that money in picks to go Jonathan Taylor is going to trade anything. Again, Barry saying they like the running back room that they have. That is code for we're not trading for him. There's no way that they're trading for Jonathan, at least in my opinion. So there's that. So I guess we don't really have to talk about that anymore. Would that have helped? I don't know. Now, can we get a Jed Wills question slid in here sometime for Andrew Bear? Those are two trades we were kind of talking about this morning. Running back or left tackle. I'd love to hear what Barry thinks about Jed Wills. Trying to get the coded message there through on Andrew Bear. So again, Andrew Barry speaking to the media. We're bringing up some clips right now, just kind of as we parse through Twitter here on some of the quotes coming in. Biggest things thus far, the Browns felt like Watson was going to play and then he didn't. Watson felt like he was going to play and didn't. Sounds like they're not trading for Jonathan Taylor. They are confident in the running back room that they have. They brought up consistency several times and feel like they're going to get back to that. And Watson's shoulder injury is a short-term injury that they don't feel like will impact him the rest of the season. That is probably the best news out of all of it. Like, as we even, and eventually I need to do and want to do of turning the page on the shoulder injury and him not playing in that game. Then it comes to, how structurally sound is he? Is this something he can get over? And if they feel like it's a short-term injury, then the bye week should help and he should come out against the 49ers to be just fine and kind of move forward. There will always be that fear he gets hit again or that something kind of flares back up. But for the most part, you're going to feel really good about Watson's shoulder kind of moving forward. Do you feel better about Watson's shoulder moving forward? I don't know if I do. Kind of a lull right now in all the Andrew Barry quotes. You want to catch a break, Ryan?
Yeah, we could do
Let's catch a break. When we come back, we'll get more from Andrew Barry. We'll try to slide time hop in a little bit. So again, Andrew Barry speaking to the media, sidestepping the Jonathan Taylor question, up on the Watson, all of that. We'll update it all as we return. Let's catch a quick break back after this. right, back here on the Matt Fontana Show, right here on Big Play. Andrew Berry still speaking with the media. A couple big things that came out before the break. They all viewed Deshaun Watson as he was going to play. Didn't. Deshaun Watson's shoulder is a short-term injury. Don't think it's going to be long-term. Basically shut down trading for Jonathan Taylor, saying they like the room that they're at. But also a little bit more on that. Barry kind of mentioned where the NFL is at, right? Where now it's more of a platoon-type system. And you see most teams, they don't have just one running back. And he said, we were spoiled with Nick Chubb because you had one of the best in the league. But now you look at it as Jerome Ford, and then also believes that Kareem Hunt will be ramped up, where it's more of a position of platoon of RB and RB2. RB1 and RB2 is what I should say. Now, the thing is, that is how the NFL goes. And that is where it is. But you still need to change who you are as an offense when you don't have that. Everybody else that runs that platoon system, they plan for that. They scheme for that. And that's how it is. A little bit different when you were schemed only to have Nick Chubb. Barry said Watson, bummer he couldn't play versus Baltimore, felt really good about his progress, says he hasn't had right shoulder issues in the past. So this was kind of, again, new for Watson, but that the bummer that he couldn't play. And we'll find out. I think we'll find out more from Watson. Like, I want to find out more from him next week when he speaks about what went into that process, how the shoulder felt. Like, I think it's weird that, like, all week it was feeling better, it was trending, then all of a sudden it didn't. I'm just going to continue to bash my head against the wall about this because it's just, that's the biggest thing going for me right now. He talked about Elijah Moore, where Barry said he's a dynamic player. I want to find the exact quote here. We view him as one of the better playmakers on the roster. We do want to get him the ball. That will evolve. Says he feels good about the pass catchers as well. I think all Barry is doing right now is we're not trading for anybody. This is the team that we have built. This is the team that we have put together. We got to ride this out. And the thing is, you do have talent. You just got to find a way to maximize it. Really, Andrew Barry's job is done. There's no more job to be had. He put this together. Got to find a way. Barry about the team understanding why Watson didn't play. It was pretty obvious what he had done to get ready throughout the week. It was obvious he couldn't throw the ball well enough. Maybe that's it. Maybe that's all it was. Where all week he had done the rehab and he tried to throw on Sunday and he just couldn't. There's solace to be had in that it sounds like there was no hope, Ryan. Like when Deshaun Watson threw that football Sunday morning, there was no hope to be had that he was going to be able to play in the game. So when that's what happens, that's what happens. And you go with that. Did they make the right decision? Yeah, probably. Because if he sits down for the week, he gets the bye, you are then putting all your eggs in we have 13 more games to go, try to get him as healthy as possible to play out these games. Maybe that's the tack the Bengals should have taken with Joe Burrow. I don't know. But it sounds like at least the right decision was made, Ryan, that he couldn't play in this game.
Yeah. I'm just...
Oh, we got timeout coming? We're going to do timeout.
Technical glitch. No, but yeah, I just wish we could have more information at this time, and it's just kind of annoying that, we might never have it, something in-house that we won't have the fortunate opportunity to understand, but it is frustrating. And just if the plan was to play him all week, and I mean, yeah, when the plan was to play Deshaun all week, and then you have this DTR coming in, it's just, you were never going to win that game.
He mentions that there's an understanding in the locker room. This is from Barry. There's an understanding in the locker room that Watson couldn't play. He had worked 24/7 to get ready, but just couldn't throw. Okay. All right. That's, as we understand how this played out, that is the most paramount thing. Okay. I'm not trying to sit here and stir up something. I'm not trying to stir the pot. I'm not trying to create something that isn't there. My concern always will be what gets the Browns to be successful. What is the path for the Browns to win football games? That's all I care about. That's all I want. Players come and go, organizations, people within it, fine. I want the Browns to win. They lost on Sunday. That then sent me into a worry about the rest of the season. So as long as there is, as Barry says, an understanding within that organization that Watson did everything he could to play and then went out there Sunday and just couldn't do it, you can live with that. I can live with that, and I hope the rest of the players on that roster can live with that. The thing that needs to be avoided, I want everybody to listen to this. I'm not saying that this is actually true or this is the case, but what you can't have happen is what played out, and then you have everybody going, oh, man, he could have played. Oh, man, what happened? I thought you said you were going to play. And this starts building into something that it's not. So for Barry to say that there is an understanding throughout the locker room that Watson did everything he could to play and then couldn't, as long as that is there and that is a true belief, I can't have this be phony and fake. I can't have that just be lip service that the organization and the team understand. Because, Ryan, we know what happens. The rest of the locker room could, I'm not saying this is happening, could start to turn and go, dude, we're all busting ass to get out there. I'm hurt, you're hurt, everybody's hurt. And we're going out and finding a way to play. And then it starts building up into negative emotions. Guys start holding grudges against one another, and you have a full-on locker room problem that'll lead to losing and your coach getting fired. That's what I don't want to happen. And at this point, what Andrew Barry is telling me, that's not a problem. That's not a problem. We all sit here and understand Watson did everything he could to play, and he physically could not. And there's something to be said about the players understanding he put the team over self. That's what it is too. Team over self, right? He approached it as I hope I would hurt the team by playing. By me being out there, that would not be the best thing for the team to win or have the hope to win. So I sat. I didn't sit because I didn't feel good or I didn't sit because of we know it's not the contract. I didn't sit to protect myself. I sat because in the best interest of the team, they needed to play Dorian Thompson-Robinson. That needs to be the answer, and I hope that is the answer. I'll believe Andrew Barry on that. He was also asked about Nick Chubb's contract situation. Focus right now is getting him and supporting him through the early stages of rehab, but he said, quote, I'm not betting against Nick Chubb. That's from Andrew Barry. I don't want to say regardless of the surgery because that's a massive thing to be said. Nick Chubb cannot play football for any other football team ever again. I don't care what deal you got to get done. He's got one more deal or one more year left on his current deal. I don't want to see Nick Chubb ever play football for anybody else ever again. Okay? Get that done, AB. So for him saying you don't want to bet against him, that probably tells you deep down that they'd like to get something done with Nick Chubb. And Nick, I'm sorry, I'm reading Padone's tweet too. Ryan, I'm assuming that's probably the same feeling for Nick Chubb too. He wants to play here, and the Browns want him to play here.
Yeah, when you've had that much success in your career and he seems to love the city and the fans, why would he want to leave? Andrew Barry on what needs to change post-bye. Big emphasis on ball security.
Yeah, he's mentioned that a couple times, the turnovers, the ball security. Yeah, I mean, I think that's a pretty big part of it too. You know, when you're playing the way that the Browns are playing, they're good enough to beat teams, but they're also not good enough to not make mistakes. Like there are some teams, kind of like the Chiefs on Sunday night against the Jets, where you can just overcome some mistakes, but you don't like making those. The Browns aren't that good, and they really, truly need to be at a situation where they can't turn the football over. There's no way they can do that. I also thought this was interesting from Barry. He was asked, was talking about Watson went from not being able to lift his arm to thinking by Friday he'd be able to play. So when did he not be able to lift his arm? There's improvement, I guess, but if it's at a point where any point during the week your quarterback can't lift his throwing arm, then why the hell would you think he'd be able to play? Granted, we all have injuries. You wake up, you feel a little bit better than not, and you kind of move forward, but there was a time where he thought he couldn't lift his arm and then all of a sudden thought he could play. Barry said he's also pretty aggressive and said it's too early to think about the trade deadline. Although he is pretty aggressive in roster movement, it's too early to think about the trade deadline. I'll put it this way. I don't assume the Browns are going to make any moves, and I'll be proven wrong on the other side of that, but I'm just going to go into the trade deadline or even right now. I don't think he's going to make any moves. Moves for what? Again, a left tackle that you already have paid for. He's already shot down the Jonathan Taylor rumors twice and said they like the room that they have. There's no other moves to be made.
Doesn't it seem like we're 0-4, Matt?
No, I mean, I'll put it this way. The way that this press conference is going, there is so much negative.
That's what I mean by that.
I mean, that's because the Watson injury is the biggest thing a lot of us have a question about. You got to ask about Nick Chubb's injury. And yeah, you keep fumbling the football and turning the football over. This is an 0-4 press conference for a 2-2 team. But that comes back to expectations.
Yep.
Because we had better ones, and knowing that you probably should be 3-1. I've said that. The Ravens game, whatever, I flush it. The Pittsburgh game is the one that I'm probably more pissed off about, and that goes back to exactly what AB is talking about, turnovers. What sunk you in that game? Turnovers. And that's probably why it's such a big emphasis right now, because that cost you that Pittsburgh game. You could be sitting here 3-1, and this press conference might be a lot different than it is. But it was always going to be a negative one because there's just some negative things. Andrew Berry on Jed Wills. Berry. Jed would be the first to tell you he hasn't played as consistently as he's capable of playing. Can play better. Will be a key piece for us moving forward. And DeJuan Jones has done a nice job in some difficult circumstances. That's the thing about Jed Wills. If he was more consistent, you would have an answer. If he was more consistently bad, he would be gone. You wouldn't have him here. And if he was more consistently better and he played better more consistently, we wouldn't be having this discussion. It is the Ryan, I'd beg for consistency with Jed Wills. Either good or bad, start playing one way so I can make a decision. That's what I need out of Jed Wills right now.
It's just so disappointing, too, with him. And I know I mentioned this earlier in the show about how it's possible to look at it that he's just getting worse. And I just saw a tweet that he's already allowed as many pressures as he did his rookie year. Oh, man, that is just, it's disappointing.
I think it is. And I kind of subscribe to, I think defenses have got a book on him. And they're starting to figure out the best way to attack him. I think it's that bull rush because he just can't handle it right now. Where kind of like Bill Callahan fits into this, I'm shocked that there hasn't been like a little revamp of things, or I don't know. But they said the consistency is the biggest thing with Jed Wills as it is. Barry on all the salary cap situation, wanting to roll over all of it to 2024, but he said it would not prohibit them from making a move to add salary this year. They believe in remaining flexible and wouldn't rule it out. Well, of course they wouldn't. Because you have $40 million in salary cap this year that you would ideally like to roll over to next year. But if you see this team starting to skid off the runway, you got to make a move to try to fix that, right? What move is there? I don't know. Like, okay, so the Patriots made a pretty big move about an hour ago. They traded to bring back J.C. Jackson, cornerback. He was with the Chargers. And he signed a massive deal with the Chargers. He's had some off-the-field problems. And now the Patriots lost their rookie corner, Christian Gonzalez. He's probably going to be out for the year. He needs to have shoulder surgery. So they make a move that sounds like in a bit of a salary dump from the Chargers, and you pick up a player. That's something the Browns might have to do, a little bit of an NBA-type move. Find a guy with some huge salary that a team's trying to jettison, and you pick up some of that this year, but then you are not squeezing yourself for next year, but to a point you kind of limit what you're trying to do next year because you want to roll this money over and give it to Deshaun Watson to keep flexibility for players you can sign next year and move forward with. So I agree with Barry. Flexibility is the name of the game. I just wonder the pressure on Andrew Berry to maybe make a move. Because when it's going bad, it would be easy to say, well, a fix is some sort of trade, a fix is some sort of player, but you got to eat up your flexibility for next year too. And you eat up $10 million, which is a lot of money of your salary cap. You still have 40 or, 40 to 30. That's still a lot of money you can roll over. I am going to operate and believe that the Browns will not be making any moves. Put it this way. making a move of significance. Back-end roster, practice squad, sure, that stuff happens all the time. I'm talking about them investing $7, $8, $10 million on some sort of player for this season. I don't see that happening. And at what position? You'd like to say left tackle, sure, but you still have to pay Jed Wills. Any move you make, you better have Jed Wills going back out, and that's not happening unless you attach a draft pick with him. I don't see it. I get Barry. He wants to keep his flexibility. He's a GM. He's going to tell you nothing. And really, they're saying, we could make a move, but I don't really see it. You want to do time hop real quick? You want to jump into a break? You want to do time hop?
Let's do it.
All right, hit time hop. Let's get to it. All right, we jump into time hop here on the 4th of October, and here's what we'll do. We'll do time hop, we'll catch a break, then we'll come back and completely recap everything with Andrew Barry, maybe get a super boost going for today because it worked so well yesterday on Tipico. We'll get our bets for the day going for baseball coming up as well. But we got the 4th of October. What do we got, Ryan? Including 3 years ago today, I remember this game vividly. The Browns head on down to Jerry's World, and they beat the Dallas Cowboys 49-38. Jarvis Landry threw that touchdown to Odell Beckham. What was it, Odell's 200th touchdown or something like that? I don't remember. It seems like a lot of... There's no way it was his 200th, right?
That seems like a lot of touchdowns.
Seems like a lot of touchdowns. I don't know. Some big touchdown for Odell Beckham from Jarvis Landry. I remember that. Odell caught another one from Baker Mayfield. Baker threw 2 touchdowns in that game. $165. I remember this too. Dak Prescott threw for 500 yards and 4 touchdowns and still lost that football game. The Browns had a 41-14 lead at the end of it. Or excuse me, at the end of the third quarter, they pulled it into a 3-point game. It was 41-38, and then Odell Beckham had that reverse for the touchdown. What an electric game. I remember that. That was 3 years ago today. This day, 2018, Tom Brady threw his 500th touchdown pass to who? Josh Gordon.
Wow.
Remember that? It was Josh Gordon. They had just signed him. That happened this day, 2018. This day, 2015, Browns fall to the Chargers, 30-27. The Browns tied it with 2 minutes to play. The Chargers lined up for a 39-yard field goal to win it. They missed it, but the Browns jump off sides. They come back after the penalty. They make the kick. And the Browns lose to the Chargers 30-27 this day, 2015. Box score for that game, Ryan. Because it was San Diego at the time, not the LA Chargers, San Diego. Josh McCown threw 2 touchdowns, 356. Phillip Rivers had 3 touchdowns. Man, Danny Woodhead was their leading rusher in that game for the Chargers.
Okay, Danny.
Duke Johnson was your leading receiver with 85 yards and a touchdown in that game for the Browns this day 2015. This day 1991, Jim Thome hit his first career home run. He did it at Yankee Stadium. This day 1959, Jim Brown set the Browns record with 37 rushing attempts in a game. This day, 1948, the Indians won the pennant. They beat the Yankees 8-3 in a 1-game playoff to clinch the pennant. Lou Boudreau went 4 for 4 with 2 home runs, 2 RBIs, and 3 runs scored. Very happy birthday goes out to Tony La Russa, former Browns wide receiver Chancey Stuckey. There's a name of the past. You remember him? Drew Stubbs, former Indians outfielder. Lonnie Chisenhall. Oh, man, did I love Lonnie Chisenhall. I thought I made a proclamation one year he's going to make an all-star game. Didn't. Jabril Peppers, Derrick Rose, Rutherford B. Hayes, Susan Sarandon, Christoph Waltz, Alicia Silverstone, and Russell Simmons all celebrating a birthday today. I've got today is National Taco Day. Is that true?
I think it's National Tequila or Vodka Day.
Oh, vodka. Vodka and your tacos. Now, here's a big question for you. Are you hard shell or soft shell?
Soft.
Taco?
Not even competition.
Good answer. That is the correct answer. Today's National Taco Day.
Ooh.
So celebrate everybody there. On the 4th, one TV show for you today. Pretty legacy type TV show. Came out this day, 1957. I'll give you a bit of a layup today. What animal builds dams?
Is it Leave It to Beaver?
Leave It to Beaver. That is correct. Yes, Leave It to Beaver. The beaver. The beef. Leave It to Beaver. This day in 1950. I've never watched it. I have no idea. Got nothing for you. So that's why I had to go with that. Debut this day, 57. All right. Anything else that's really come out for Barry? We'll keep it here. We'll wrap up the show a little bit early. We have Drennan's coming in to record. Oh, reminder for everybody, we do not have a show tomorrow. We've got some family things to take care of. So we'll be back on a Football Friday. We'll have Sonny here. Maybe we'll try to get Noah on Friday. Recap some of the things from Andrew Barry. So no show tomorrow. You can always get the replays, though, throughout the week on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube as well. I try to not go back to the shoulder thing. And you know what? Maybe Friday, Ryan, we make the edict. We just move forward from the shoulder. Because Barry has basically said what we all know. They thought that Deshaun Watson would be able to play. He couldn't. He didn't. But there's an understanding in the locker room that he tried everything that he could to make it to the game. As long as that is where we sit today, as long as that is the thing that matters the most, we'll be okay. What you can't have happen is guys starting to question Deshaun Watson, questioning his toughness to a degree, but all of that. All those players in that locker room bust ass all week. They're hurt. They're injured. They're trying to make it to the game. But make no mistake, too, the whole season rides on Deshaun Watson. And they feel like his injury is not long-term. It's a short-term injury. That's good news. You got to get him healthy, get him right, and come out. And it's a tough opponent against San Francisco out of the bye. I understand that. But you are just, it's so hard. That your quarterback and the biggest key for your team's success, and you have questions surrounding him. Is the shoulder going to flare back up? I really am ready to move past it. I really am ready to just put this shoulder thing behind us and see where we go from here. There's a lot of unknown. There's a lot of uncertainty. The Browns are 2-2. You could be a lot worse off. They're still in this thing. I still think they're in the hunt for the playoffs, and they'll find a way to fight through it. The other thing Barry mentioned today, it sounds like they're ruling out any trade for Jonathan Taylor. Rightly so. They like the running back room they have. They're going to run with that. It's a bad pun. I apologize for that. They're going to stick with the running backs that they got. Mention the flexibility, but that's just what he wants to say. But a lot of the things that Andrew Barry said today too, Ryan, they were self-reflective on this standpoint. The mistakes that they have made. The turnovers are number one on the list. He mentioned consistency. Any coach and any GM will say that. They need consistency out of Jed Wills. They want to get the football to Elijah Moore a little more consistently. Sure, those are all true things. But those all sound like we're going to get to the bye and fix things ourselves. We're going to fix the things that we can fix internally before we talk about anything externally of making a trade or anything like that. But also the confidence that you have the team. This would be a lot different if you looked across this team and go, man, we suck. Or we have nobody that can play. You've had to deal with some major injuries. I think there will be a world that you feel better on how you handle it. Because right now, we're still a little in like the shock phase of the Nick Chubb. We have not seen what the Browns are going to look like truly without Nick Chubb. It's a chance that that's a scary world. There's a chance that Nick Chubb truly was a devastating injury for this offense. And if that's the case, we're in a lot of trouble. The answer to all of their problems is Deshaun Watson playing well and getting through this injury. That's where we need to put our focus. That's where we need to start putting our energy and channeling that energy towards Deshaun Watson, getting that shoulder right, getting it fixed, and playing better. There are people that would say, even with the shoulders better, man, they're still playing horrible on offense. They're still not. Okay, sure. I get all of it. This bye week came at a good time. Pretty good time for the Browns. They got to use it to get healthy. They got to use it to get ready. Get Deshaun Watson fixed up, and we'll go from there. Let's get to Tipico. Tipico Big Play 150. Use that code and get signed up for all your action for not only football season, but for baseball playoffs, basketball right around the corner. I feel like right now, Ryan, now's a good time for your futures bets in basketball.
Yeah. Do you have any early futures in the NBA that you like, Matt?
I like the Bucks Really going on a limb here. Bucks to win the East. That's probably my favorite of all of it. I think it's the Bucks to win the East. All right, let's get to baseball for today. What do we got? We got the 4 games. Rangers, Rays, Blue Jays, Twins, Diamondbacks, Brewers. What a matchup today. You got Zach Gallen and Freddie Peralta there at 7 o'clock. Marlins, Phillies. So of my boost yesterday, Ryan, 3 out of the 4 lost. Because what? The Twins won. I got screwed in the first game, to be honest with you. Because the very first game, the Rangers win, then the Twins win, then the Diamondbacks win. I had picked against all of them, to be honest with you. All right, here's our flex boost parlays for today. 2 players to hit a home run. Randy Arozarena, Carlos Correa, Willy Adames, and Bryce Harper. That is plus 700. Ooh. Here's a boost of Zach Eflin of the Rays, Freddie Peralta of Milwaukee, and Aaron Nola for Philly to record 20-plus strikeouts. If they'd have thrown me Zach Gallen in there, I'd be all over that one. Corey Seager, 2+ total bases, and the Rangers to win is boosted to plus 300. I like it. Let's create our own little parlay for today, though. Can I buck the trend? Can I go Rays? Should I keep the Rays out of it? Are they sunk? Do they suck?
Their fans do.
I know. I'm going to go Rays, Blue Jays, because I refuse to pick the Twins. I'm going to stay away from the Brewers and the Diamondbacks, and I'm going to take the Phillies. You want a lock for today? Take the Phillies. I think they suck. Talking about the Miami Marlins. They made the playoffs with a negative run differential. Plus 512 on our little 3-leg parlay here.
I like it, man.
I like it. Log it in right now. Tipico. Use that code BIGPLAY150. I'm going to take the Rays, the Blue Jays, and the Phillies all to get a win on the money line. Bet is placed. We're rocking. Get signed up today. Bet with us all season long right here on Big Play. We use Tipico. We use that code BIGPLAY150 to get your $150 in bonus bets and a free $30 futures bet. On everything. Still, obviously, plenty of football season to go. Plenty of college football. Ohio State, undefeated. Maryland, undefeated. We'll get to our picks on Friday with that. And, of course, basketball season will be here before we know it as well. So get signed up. Tipico, Big Play 150. Use that code. Gambling problem, call 1-800. And terms and conditions apply. Check out Tipico's website for all of that. I believe Andrew Berry is done with his press conference. I haven't seen any quotes kind of coming out. So we'll see. Biggest takeaway, what are you going to do? He couldn't play with the shoulder, couldn't have it, couldn't get through it, and he couldn't play. They'll get Elijah Moore the football a little bit more. They got to clean up some mistakes. GM speak. There you go. So I don't think really anything big. I don't know, Ryan, you tell me, anything real big that you took away from Andrew Berry?
I think he said exactly what we thought we were going to say. And, that's kind of what you get with Andrew Berry. Very level-headed, smart answers, comes prepared. So, what did we expect from him,
It's the shoulder thing. It's the indecision, the unknown, just on how all that played out. I want to so badly give the Browns the benefit of the doubt, but I don't know if I can. I was ready to flush it. I was ready to move on. Your quarterback said all week that he was going to play, and then he couldn't. I just want to believe that, but I can't. Because it brings back negative memories. It brings back things that I've seen in this town before when you are not on the same page. What is one thing the Browns have fought for years? Dysfunction. One of the symptoms of dysfunction is miscommunications. When not everybody is on the same page. Say what you want about how they handled the Watson situation. Pretty sure they were not all on the same page. He comes out and he balls out against San Francisco. I don't have to think about this ever again. I don't have to worry about it ever again. I hope we get there. I really do. And I also hope the shoulder is not something that's going to be long-standing. At least we got that from Barry today, too. Barry said that this is a short-term injury, not a long-term injury. So you kind of fold it up from there and hope for the best. Don't go anywhere. Chico coming up at noon. He'll have a lot of reaction to the Andrew Berry press conferences, I know. You can, as always, stream our show with Chico's show. iHeart app, search Big Play. It is right there. Tonight, bonus time with Bruce Drennan. That'll be across our social media platforms on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. Drennan's just on Big Play, right? He doesn't have his own channels yet. So he's just on Big Play. You can still follow us, as always, at Matt Fontana Show on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube for all of that. Don't forget Hanford Dixon Show, the return of Josh Maria Cribbs, Bobby Carpenter Show with Anthony Schlegel. It's all there. Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube with on-demand shows on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And check out BigPlay.com for all of our merchandise offers and our Tipico Big Play boosts. The Big Play Network, where you want it, how you want it, when you want it, a new way of enjoying entertainment. Reminder again, we do not have a show tomorrow. We'll be off, so we'll be back on Friday for all of our football selections and a great Football Friday show right here on the Matt Fontana Show. Appreciate all the support. I appreciate everybody that joins us every single morning, or even for a couple of minutes. We had some great numbers. I mentioned this earlier, Ryan. We, in our first month, really did an awesome, and that's to you, the fans. We just show up and have some fun. Appreciate everybody that joins us for a little bit of your morning, for the entire morning. Great stuff. We got some big things coming here, too, with Big Play and, of course, right here on the show. Enjoy the hell out of your Wednesday. It's going to be a beautiful one. Off tomorrow. We'll talk to you on Friday. So until then, for Ryan Tyler, I'm Matt Fontana. And as always, take it easy.